My name is Haris Floridis, Division Head of Business Consulting Services, and I'm here with Spiros Anemogiannis, Senior Pre-Sales Consultant, to present a demo of the Absolute IT Monitoring as Service. Spiros had a leading role in the design and implementation of the solution, and he will drive us through and provide insights on the 6 topics. Spiros, if you can share your screen.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen now.
Go to the next slide. The 6 topics that we'll see we'll cover through the demo. As we see here in the slide, with Spiros, we'll talk on the design and architecture of the solution. We'll cover the security aspect. We'll see the different available dashboards that have been prepared. And we'll also go through the different alerts and the workflows being supported by the system. Now, moving to the first slide, the first question of Spiros. This service, the Absolute IT Infrastructure Monitoring, is designed to support the complete IT infrastructure landscape of an organization. Can you provide us with some insight on how this can be accomplished? What systems, services can this solution monitor? And we would also like to know how it can support organizations running hybrid models with on-premise and also cloud environments.
Yes, sure. Good morning from me, and I would like to thank you all for joining us today. So let's talk a little bit briefly about the architecture of the service. This service was designed to be consumed as a cloud service, as Pampos also mentioned already, with focus on security and, of course, simplicity and scalability in order to accommodate many customer environments with no issues on performance, on security, and whatever issues may occur from the architecture. So this distributed architecture it has the following components. The main component is the proxy server, which is a software that we install in each customer premises. And this proxy gives us several advantages. The most of monitoring functionality is executed within this proxy server, and the proxy server itself has limited communication with our monitoring service at the Logicom data center. This approach is giving us several advantages. First of all the data metrics, polling and gathering is performed locally inside the customer premises from the local proxy. So in this matter, we don't have any burden on the bandwidth of the communication between the target devices and our monitoring service, because all the polling and data gathering is performed locally inside the customer beside the firewall. And then all the data are forwarded in a secure way, in a bulked and compressed way back to our system on the data center. The second advantage of this distributed architecture is, of course, the security advantage that gives us, because in the firewall we don't have to open connections to every target device, but just one secure connection from the proxy server to the monitoring service. Finally, the distributed architecture gives us the opportunity to have a redundancy plan in case of the internet connection is down or there is a failure on the one connection. In that case, all the data gathered by the proxy are stored and cached locally. And when the one communication is back up, the proxy again sends the bulk data back to the service, so we don't lose any data for a particular time. This distributed architecture is clearly also help us to provide higher scalability and separation of data for every site that the customer has. And the only thing, again, as we mentioned, we need to install is the proxy server and also the agents. So speaking of the agents, how the monitoring works. Basically, we start with the data collection on the left side of the screen. Inside the customer's data center, there are two ways to gather data. One way is, as we mentioned already, with the agents installed on the target devices. The agent is a very small software with a small footprint. It supports all operating systems known today. So there are no compatibility issues whatsoever, or any performance issues that you might be worried about. And the second way to gather data is, of course, by agentless polling. In cases that we cannot install any agent on the device, for example, for network machines, there is a way to gather data via protocols which are agentless, like SNMP or ODBC connections to database servers, or API calls to other systems, etc. So these data are gathered, as we said, to the proxy, and then the proxy sends the data to the main data analysis server in our hosted data center, and there the data are analyzed and processed. In case that we have some issues with thresholds that we have set up, or there are some any errors occurred, there is of course an automatic notification system that will provide you with alerts, either by emailing you, email your administrator or the group of administrators, or integrate with an ITSM system that you may have, for example, a ServiceNow system that you may have already in your company. So they're going to be also a chance to open a ticket onto the ticketing system automatically through our system, from monitoring service. Then the data are, of course, stored to the data repository to keep historic data, give us the opportunity to provide the trend analysis and historic reports, and also provide the data to our graphical user interface, which is a modern dashboard-based web interface, which provides nice ways to visualize the data and get a good idea of what's going on in their system. And we're going to see that live in a while. As Pampos mentioned, this service is a unified infrastructure monitoring service. That means that it covers a broad range of technologies and infrastructure, starting with networks, supporting major brands like Cisco, Checkpoint firewalls, HP switches, and Aruba devices, for example. Then, of course, we have the servers, supporting, of course, physical and virtual servers in various hypervisor platforms. We have the opportunity to monitor also infrastructure that resides in the cloud, like AWS or Azure applications. That means that we have some ready-made monitoring templates for well-known applications like Exchange Server, like SharePoint, for example, that we can also monitor. The services means that we can also, if we have an agent on the machine, we can monitor the status of critical services that were critical for you, and we can monitor if the service is down to raise an alarm, or perhaps run a script to start the service again. Web monitoring. This is a very nice opportunity for me to give you an idea of a use case scenario here regarding web monitoring. This is about the ability we have to create some synthetic monitoring. That means that we can, the system can personate a user accessing your website and provide back information about how long it took for the site to load, if the site was loaded correctly, and if it was available, of course. So it will give us a good knowledge if something is wrong with a website that we are serving to our customers, even before a customer notices. And this is a real nice use case to consider. Of course, again, storage devices regarding IBM, HP, and all the other major vendors. Virtual machines, we already mentioned that. Java applications means we can also monitor and give information about metrics regarding application servers of Java, like JBoss or WebSphere, etc. And of course, databases with IBM databases and Oracle and SQL database as well. Okay, now going to the second.
Excellent, Spiros. Thanks, and very well explained. Moving now to the second topic, security and data protection. I believe that one of the major areas of concern when moving a new service to cloud is related to cybersecurity matters. Spiros, can you explain the security controls that have been designed, implemented to safeguard this service? How can we feel confident and comfortable that this service is being protected by the best security practices? And the last part of my question is related to data privacy. And if we can explain what information is being collected, processed, or stored by the absolute IT infrastructure monitoring as a service.
Certainly. So from the start, when we designed this service, our main focus was, of course, the security, both of the data and and of course, the user access to the system. This service is a multi-tenant environment, meaning that every user will see, of course, only its own data whatsoever. There were many security audits conducted by qualified cybersecurity experts. So we try to get all the data and feedback back from these security audits to further strengthen our service. We have continuous security monitoring, of course, in our premises with all the technology that Logicom Solutions has and the expertise in our teams. We have implemented strong authentication controls, both for the data gathering and also the user access, which will require multi-factor authentication to log into the visualization system, to the graphical user interface. And of course, the service is hosted in a data center, which is ISO 27001 certified, as all the company is. So I think that we keep constantly doing whatever is possible to secure the platform. And also about your question about the kind of data that we're gathering. The data we're gathering are clearly performance monitoring data. We don't have the need, and of course, we don't gather any critical data or personal data that might affect the security. Plainly and clearly, only performance data is gathered and stored in the system.
Very nice, Spiro. Yes. So it's only data that are do not include any sensitive information.
Yeah, any private information.
But regardless of the sensitivity of data being connected, indeed, the security controls implemented and have been what you have described now, I think, gives a strong confidence on how securely this service can be delivered. I think now we can move to the third topic, and it is the time to provide the first view to everyone on what users will be able to view through the different dashboards that have been prepared for each individual asset that will be monitoring. As described before, those dashboards have been designed based on the knowledge and the extended experience of people who have been working on providing such services and are intended to provide a holistic view on the health status and the KPIs of the different technologies of each asset. We are ready now to view the first dashboards from Spiros.
Yes, certainly we have created a view for you. So I hope the video is okay. So okay, so you see here an indicative dashboard about network devices, and we see this one is a Cisco router that we're monitoring here, and we get various KPIs and metrics regarding networks, like of course the availability, the iOS version, and information about the memory utilization of the system, CPU utilization, the temperature, power supply status, fan status, and of course a graphical depiction of the utilization. Of course, we have also status of the interfaces and the traffic, the interfaces, incoming interfaces. We can hover on the graph screen and we will see all the interfaces currently and how much traffic they have, either incoming or outgoing. We can see also discarded packets, error packets that may occur. Of course, these KPIs are not the only ones that we can gather. These are indicative KPIs that we have already made for you available based on best practices. And of course, if there are other KPIs, we can easily integrate them in the dashboard. Now here I switched the dashboard to another device, which is a Cisco switch now. And you see that the dashboard automatically has a kind of change depicting the metrics that are relevant to the switch now. We see we have only one fan status. And now we see another dashboard, which is an MS SQL database. So you see here different panels and different KPIs, again, focused on the technology of MS SQL Server. For example, the number of threads running, what is the status of the memory, SQL memory manager information, physical disks, processor time, active transactions on the system, and other MS SQL related metrics and KPIs available for you. Of course, at the downside, we have the status of important SQL services that are running on the system. Another dashboard to have an idea of a different technology we may have is a Windows Server, of course. So we see here a Windows Server machine with the relevant KPIs for disk utilization, the CPU and memory, the uptime, and all the graphical, again, KPIs for about the information about the file systems, the network traffic of the in-network interface, incoming and outgoing, and of course, again, some critical services that are running in the system. What's the status of them? Another example is the checkpoint firewall. So here we see the checkpoint firewall, the number of current connections that it has right now in the last 1 hour, CPU utilization, the fan status, the disk space utilization, and other information regarding this firewall device. So you get a good idea of the breadth and the how many different technologies we can depict, and we can give you KPIs and metrics already available out of the box. And of course, if you have need to see another metric, another KPI, we can easily incorporate it into the dashboard for you. Last, we can see an IBM storage device. And here we see the disk drives, what's the status, what is the capacity right now, what's the total capacity of the system, the status of the enclosure and things like that, IO, read and write information, IOPS, right, the average and current. You can hover, we can see latency information as well. Another interesting aspect is that you can select the time period. So here you see available historic data. So you can go back in time and see and when you select, or you can customize the time range. So in that way, when you select a different period, the dashboard automatically changes and tries to bring data regarding the time period that you selected. So in a few seconds, we will see now that the same panels gives you a summary view of the last 7 days that we have selected. You see here, now the panel is changed per day, and it gives you the last week status. So that's it, to get an idea of different dashboards and what kind of metrics we can deliver.
Thank you, Spiros. We see how important it is to have a single pane of glass to monitor all our IT assets of our organization. And one more question, Spiros. We understand, and you have briefly explained that currently the solution covers and supports the vast majority of systems that most organizations have. Now, in case or if a customer has a system or a service which is not being currently supported, is there a process to examine how we can support those additional assets as well?
Yes, sure. As we said, we are always looking to enhance our portfolio, let's say, of dashboards and monitoring systems. And of course, if there is a new device, a new technology that we don't have anything yet ready, we can discuss with the customer and bring that, of course, to the system. As long as it is able to monitor it, we can able to provide dashboards for you, like all the other technologies are already available. But we are in the process of constantly upgrading and our portfolio, let's say, of dashboards.
And I believe the vast majority is already being covered.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Now moving to the next slide. And going through the list of attendees, Spiros, I can see that we have people with different roles, some of which may not have or need to have a strong technical background. Is this service suitable for everyone? Can this service provide a more high-level, summarized view of the health status of the infrastructure without requiring from someone to have this strong technical expertise or background?
Yes, sure, certainly. There is also the need that you mentioned that we need sometimes a high-level view of our service that is consisted of various technologies like network systems and storage systems, etc. Yeah, of course, we can provide some high-level executive, like we say, views, and also give you the opportunity to have summary dashboards, so you don't have to go to each particular device each time to see its individual metrics. So let's see this particular case here that we have a service. We have a central dashboard here, a high-level dashboard, with a service that consists of a group of network interfaces, a group of servers, and a group of storage infrastructure. So we see here the status, if there are any alarms raised during the last hour that you are monitoring right now, and of course the summary dashboards. So if you click on that, we go directly to a summary status of all the servers that we're monitoring. So here we see a summary and the top 10 interfaces from all the servers that we monitor, not just the one server that we were seeing in the last session we had. So here you get a high-level view and a summary view. And if you go back in time, let's see, for the last, you see now that the active alarms that we have is on the network side. So if you click on the alarm button, you go directly to the alarm console and be able to see what kind of problems you have on that particular case. And this is a good also view of, from the root cause analysis point of view, because you will see that here, if the service has a problem or the user experience is bad, you can see that in the group of servers, we don't have any alarms, and all the alarms are from the network side. So it gives you a kind of good indication of what the problem might be.
Yes, this is a great view to obtain a helicopter view of the whole infrastructure and the health status of the different areas. And I think that
divided in groups.
Exactly.
In groups of infrastructure.
Now, to the fifth topic, what we have seen so far is related to the current health status of the different systems, services, and applications. However, many organizations need to conduct different capacity management exercises throughout the year, or at least once a year, to review the usage, performance, and to properly plan and manage their future upgrades. How this solution can support this process? I mean, the capacity management process that different organizations need to conduct. Does it provide insights on historic data, which can be used from an organization to examine the behavior of the different systems that are being monitored?
Yes, of course, because we have the data, the historic data stored in our system, we can easily provide trend analysis and also reporting for the customers. Either give the report to some executive or to the management, or use the report for capacity planning, let's say. So again, we can see here in this demo that we have a demo storage device, and we have the dashboard here that is now monitoring the last 1 hour. But if I want to run a report for the last, let's say, for the last week, perhaps last 7 days, in a few seconds, the dashboard will switch back, will give us back the historic data, and then on the right side, I can press the button of generating a PDF report. So this is the PDF report to give you an idea how it will look like for the a weekly report that you can get and mail to your management or keep it for your records or planning regarding the capacity. It's very easy. You don't have any, the only thing you have to do is select the period that you want, bring back the historic data and run the report. Press the report button, and that's it.
Excellent, Spiros. Thank you. Going now to the next slide and the last section of this presentation of the demo of our solution, it is important to stress that missing visibility on incidents or alerts for forthcoming issues can result in experiencing risk as they have been described by Bambos before, such as downtimes, negative customer experience, increased costs, or exposure to reputational or compliance risks. Now, Spiros, how can we be sure that we will not miss any critical alert of the system? We nowadays understand that IT departments are overwhelmed with multiple projects and activities, and they may not have the time to be monitoring continuously the different dashboards that we have presented before. How can the system save their time without compromising the risk of not taking timely actions?
Yes, of course. We are really well aware that most of the time the teams of the customers are not able to sit all day in front of the monitoring screen and see the dashboards or the alarms console. And what they really need is to be timely notified of a problem in the system and act in the way, or create a workflow which is pretty much automatic, running a script, for example, to start up a service that has been down, or reboot a server, for example. So our main goal is to create an automatic alerting service. And as we said, the alerting can be either to send an email to your teams or to individual administrator, or to integrate with any existing ITSM ticketing system. So I have a scenario here, a small scenario. Okay. So this is me. I received an email from the monitoring@logicom.net. This is the email address of our monitoring system, saying that there is a problem with the interface, which is been down. And this email provides me also information on when the problem started, what was the problem name, and yeah, you see here the monitoring@logicom.net is our mail, the name of the mail server. The problem name again, and which host this alarm fired from, the severity, and other information. And important here is the ICT alarms link. So here, by pressing this link, it will automatically send me to the alarm console and be able here to see a little to have a little bit deeper look on the problem, how long this problem is running for 28 minutes, a small description, and then I have different options. I can acknowledge the problem, change the severity, close the problem, or run, for example, an automatic script in that. So this is a simple, real simple workflow and real simple alerting that we have developed.
It is very important to have this alerts and notifications being delivered directly to either the administrators' mailboxes or to the IT ticketing system, as they will not need. We ensure that they will not miss any critical alert, and they also can click to the link. I saw you had direct access to the portal. Is because you are already logged in?
Yes, for the demo, yeah, I was already logged in, yeah.
And the user will be able to view the details of the alert and take action, acknowledge and confirm that this has been resolved.
Yes, and that console it will automatically, of course, synchronize with the backend system or the ITSM system. So whatever, from the time we close the ticket, the alarm here, the ticket will close also the ITSM.
Excellent. So thanks a lot, Spiros. That was the
me.
last topic.
Yep.
That was the last topic of this demo for the Absolute IT Monitoring as a Service. We are looking forward to working with you for the implementation and provide more information about our solution.